The views and opinions of the host and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
The Revolution with Juan McCartney is sponsored by J.S. Johnson, Burger King, Commonwealth Bank, Ron's Electric Motors, the Progressive Liberal Party, Y Cares Fashion Center, the Deposit Insurance Corporation, the Free National Movement, Marco's Pizza, Colina Financial Advisors Limited, and Bahamas Check Services.
Good afternoon, Bahamas, and welcome to the Revolution here on Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM. My name is Juan McCartney, so good to have you with us. All right, so we could not speak about the advance poll yesterday as the advance poll was being conducted. I have no earthly idea why, but that's the rule. But today we can. And I got to say this. We've been conducting general elections in this country since 1962. All right? For 60 years, we've been conducting elections. The advance poll has happened. It was expanded. All right? This election, I get that. But having expanded the pool of voters for the advance poll, don't you think you should have planned properly to accommodate those people? What was that yesterday? Some places was smooth, but a lot of places it was chaotic. A great deal of disorder. It's just not good enough. You cannot have the most vulnerable people, tell them come out to vote, do not social distance them, do not provide shade for them, do not provide seating for them in the vast majority of cases. I saw one or two places had some seats. Do not social distance them and think that they're going to remain safe. It doesn't make any sense. We've been conducting elections in the same arcane manner since 1962. We can't progress to electronic voting, clearly. We can't do drop-off voting, dropping off ballots, which you would have thought would have made sense during the pandemic. You could figure out a way to secure those ballot boxes. Everybody don't have to stand on a line because it's a pandemic. You got to plan this thing out properly. You called an election, right? The Parliamentary Registration Department, Minister of National Security, they have a responsibility to see the election is conducted safely. One of those things to do with safety is the health of those who are voting because we have a pandemic, so you can't get scrunched up on everybody any longer. And someone was telling me yesterday, oh, well, y'all blaming the Parliamentary Registration Department and police and the government and all this and why people can't learn to social distance on their own. I'm sorry. People should social distance on their own? That's what you're saying to me? People should wear masks on their own? Because last time I checked, it is the law that you must social distance. It is the law that you must wear a mask. So why now, suddenly, is it up to us? Does the law not require social distance markers in every single business? Does the law not require social distance enforcement at every church and gym? So why now is it suddenly, oh, it's the people. The people won't social distance. Make them social distance. Mark out where they should be. Open up more classrooms so you don't have so many polling divisions going to one classroom. This isn't that hard to figure out. Now, I'm trying to figure out if this is worse than 2017 advance poll. Let me explain something to you. The actual experience of the 2017 advance poll yesterday does not trump that. Not even close, okay? That was a disaster. However, what I'm trying to figure out, if it's more of a fall down by the Parliamentary Registration Department this time than last time, because you had several locations in which to do this. You didn't have everybody come into the same location like it was last time. I'm trying to figure out why you can't get this together. If this is how the election is conducted with 18,000 people registered, I really don't understand how you expect the election for the other 160 plus thousand people who are registered to go smoothly. I really don't get it. You've got to get your act together. Who's the guy who they brought in after the advance poll last time? What's his name? From tourism. Haven, bring him. Let him help. He was a good manager, apparently. Let him help figure this thing out. I don't want to have to go on election day and wait 2-3 hours just to cast a vote. It's senseless. Just from what happened. So, firstly, you disenfranchised people yesterday because in Grand Bahama, the F&M candidate said that his poll workers could not vote, or people who were supposed to vote could not vote despite them registering to vote, despite them being given a copy of the register with their names on it. You had one instance at a school in New Providence where people claimed the police officer was saying they needed a COVID-19 negative test to vote. It makes absolutely no sense. You see people who were denied the right to cast their ballot yesterday, people who were given the runaround, no less than the former prime minister of the country, given the runaround. All right? We got a problem in this country when we screw things up, we start to get real territorial and go, well, it ain't this, stop it. I'm on nobody's side. If you listen to the beginning of the show, both the PLP and the F&M are paying money to advertise on this show. We got to stop doing this. It is the government's responsibility to make sure an election is conducted safely. That was not done yesterday. They also had a hiccup at Sadie Curtis, where they didn't put the ballots in an envelope and seal them before they put them in a box. I don't know if this y'all first rodeo doing it. What makes you think you don't seal the ballots? What makes you think that? What happened yesterday is, and the reason this is so messed up is because if you didn't go to vote yesterday, if you weren't allowed to vote yesterday, then they got to take your counterfoil and put it back, right? And there's too much room for errors, all right? There's too much room for errors. Now, I heard from people who said, so you disenfranchised people yesterday, and what you also did is you discouraged people from coming out next time. All right? You're discouraging people from coming out next time, particularly those who are vulnerable. Now, I know some people ain't checking. I heard one 91-year-old lady say, something gonna get you anyway. If I live to be 91, God bless me with that many years, I may have that same type of attitude. You know what I mean? That same energy. Something gonna do it. I won't go vote. Let me go vote. But for a lot of people, it's gonna end up badly. There's 195 people in hospital as of yesterday. I don't even know how they're managing. We have to be able to conduct elections properly. After 60 years of doing it with the same silly paper ballot, we should be able to figure this thing out so it could run smoothly. That was not a good look yesterday. Okay? Not at all. You can call me, by the way. 323-6232. 325-4316, 325-4259. The text line is 422-4796, 422-4796. By the way, I see the Minister of Health says that those who are in quarantine can come vote. So I guess he's stupid too, like you called me. He's reckless, like you called me. Is he idiotic, like you called me? Because he don't got a problem with it. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Revolution.
Afternoon, Juan. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How's it going?
In the sense you're talking with the quarantine people voting, I support that. You should not be disenfranchising any Bahamian who is of a sound mind and wish to vote.
Agreed.
Yeah. As far as advancing what it is we're doing, this present government have had just over 4 years and 3 months to improve the voting network for this year, but they did nothing. And that is our problem. See, I said the governments, they come in, but they're not progressive. The U.S. of A just had an election with millions of people using different methods of casting your ballot electronically, drop box, mail-in, and all these things. We know we had our election coming up, say, by now and 2022. You are, for heaven's sake, you want to tell me why we didn't consult with the United States of America, who just did it, to ask them how they do it so we can start implementing our system, so we'll have all this thing that happened yesterday not happen. But the main thing I call is to share my experience as to what happened yesterday voting
Please.
in the advanced poll. Here's the problem, Juan. Number one, they had, let's say I vote in Garden Hills. In one room, they had polling station 1 through 6. The next room, they had 7 through 13. That's the problem right there.
Exactly.
Because when you go inside the polling station, there's only two ballot boxes. Okay? So that posed, number one, that posed the problem right there. When you get inside, once they would have verified all your information, there's no problem whatsoever. Everything was smooth as a whistle. The problem is getting you into the room. And if you're having 6 polling stations in one room, you're looking for long delays. It took me 3 hours. I went there. My wife and I, we got there at about 8:30, and we left there at 11:45. So the problem number one is too many polling stations in one little classroom.
Yes,
the
I
second
agree.
problem that I saw was outside in terms of you coming in. First, you have to line up outside before the police allow you to come into the gate. So what they were doing was, as you came in, you took a long line in the hot sun. So I know my wife and I had to come home and bathe and change clothes because she had to go back to work.
Wow.
Then once you, that process took us an hour and 20 minutes because I was timing it so I could be judgmental and recommend some improvement. That was number one. Then when you got to the gate, they had Garden Hills and Fort Charlotte on the same line. So rather than having 2 separate lines to say, well, okay, Garden Hills over here, Fort Charlotte over here, so the process will be smoother. So everybody going to Garden Hills on one line, everybody going to Fort Charlotte on one line. That would make life much easier. They didn't do that. They had everybody bundled up together, and social distancing was a joke. There was no social distancing outside trying to get in. Everybody's bundled up because you really had nowhere to stand, per se, because you were on the sidewalk, and that was the only way to get to the gate to get inside. Once you get inside, they made an attempt to have markers. They had markers on the ground. They also had some chairs. So I think they were not quite 6 feet, but they were adequate. But you can imagine you're now coming in to go to your polling station. Like I said, they had 6 polling stations in that one booth. Everybody's trying to get in and get out. So as people come in, everybody just start moving closer and closer. So social distancing again out of the window.
Yeah, it's
okay.
It doesn't
Now,
make sense.
my recommendation is, had they done it? Oh, the other problem was, as the elderly people came, what they did, they took them straight in front of the line. So all of us who were there, even who were there from 8 o'clock, if a elderly person came 12 o'clock, they get to go in the front of the line, which I didn't have no problem with because I didn't want the senior citizens. Some of them, there, one lady that just had chemo. So I had to beg the police, for heaven's sake, man, let this woman in. Let her take my spot if she has to. So I didn't mind them taking the elderlies, and I appreciated that, and I didn't have a problem with them taking them straight to the line. But my thing is, you should have a room separate and apart just for senior citizens. Not putting them in the same room with the regular people, and you already put in 6 polling stations in that one booth. So they should have had an area for the senior citizens so that they don't have to come and wait. So when they came, obviously they could be trickling in at a slower pace, and you only deal with the senior citizens and the handicapped.
Yeah, agreed.
So what they were doing, they were just bringing them, putting straight to the front of the line to let them go to vote. So what I did was, those people who were there from 7 o'clock this morning, the elderly were getting in front of you. I mean, you keep backing you up. Had you had it where, because I mean, H.O. Nash had, if I counted, about 70 classrooms. For heaven's sake, tell me why you couldn't put each polling station
in a separate
classroom.
Right.
Or you have, the school, I think, have over 800 students, so you had enough chairs to place at 6 feet throughout the building that when you came in, you could have sit 6 feet apart in a chair.
Correct.
Whether you were young or old. None of this happened. Only when the police realized now, after I watched them, like I said, when I came in the back, half an hour later, the COVID police come around, oh, y'all back up 6 feet, 6 feet. Now, think about this one. I already been out there in the sun for an hour and a half. I'm now on the shade, and you can now tell me back up to put me in the sun for another hour. So you think the people could cooperate?
No.
You had, at the time when I was there, you had about 60 of us, 2 COVID policemen and 1 policeman. You think those 60 people can listen to any 2 of y'all?
Right. It's
So
not going to work.
what could they have done? And people already been there, like I say, threatened, been there for over 2 hours. So don't care what they say, people weren't paying attention to no police or COVID police. The only thing they could do is stand on the side and observe.
Yes.
You
All
see,
right.
then you
I
had
got to
the
go to a break
candidates-
here.
Oh, yeah, okay, quickly.
Okay.
Then the candidates, they were coming in, and rather than them saying to their people, because people were wearing their colors, could you please back up in terms to help with the COVID fight? So I had to tell them, listen, they're your people. You can see them in your colors. Ask them to please back up to cooperate so we can have social distancing.
Absolutely. Now, you make a very, very good point in that the political parties need to also take some responsibility for the actions of their supporters and ensure that you're doing things properly. What was I saying? What is wrong with you people? Why do you send me stuff like this? Like, why? Like, what y'all don't have lives? Listen to this. Will you be hosting your show next week on Election Day? And if so, will it be a boring, endless diatribe of sports statistics? Will your show the next day be about the results? Here's the thing. My first inclination is to explain to you in great detail what an unmitigated ass you must be to send someone something like this and how rude and senseless this is, and to tell you should secret yourself away from the rest of society and for the love of God, use your brain and realize that no one has a gun to your head and cut off the show if you don't like it. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to say I will not be hosting the show next week, Thursday, and the next day I will be announcing results. It'd be great if you didn't listen. Let's go to a break.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Are you ready for school? Well, Marco's Pizza is here to help. Get ready for the new school year with our back to school special. With our quality key ingredients, enjoy a steamy, mouth-watering, extra large, 1-topping pizza. 1 cent a square or a 1-liter Coke product for just $18. Kick off the semester the Primo way. Perfect for you and your family. Every store, every day, the Italian way.
Hey, Nassau. Rolling Red is back. Rolling Red Drive-In Rally is this Saturday, September 11th at the QE Sports Center, 6 to 8 p.m. Remember, bring your flags, bring your rags, stay in your car and on top of your car or truck. Live entertainment featuring Tyson Knight, Bahamian Trey, and DJ Tang. All safety protocols will be observed. So let's roll red. If you can't make it, then watch us live on any FNM social media site, Our News, Eyewitness TV, and Guardian Radio, or the rebroadcast over the ZNS TV and radio network 8 to 10 p.m.
You invest in your children, your home, and your community. But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAO, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Good afternoon, Bahamas. Welcome back to the Revolution here on Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM. My name's Juan McCartney. This text says, Juan, what did we just witness yesterday? Who takes responsibility for all the hiccups? You will need to begin at 12 for the amount of venting that people will have today. Pop in my popcorn right now. Let's go hear some more venting. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Revolution.
Good afternoon, Mr. McCartney. Frank Carter here.
Hey, Mr. Carter. How's it going?
I'm okay.
Awesome.
I am not angry now, but yesterday, if you were allowed by law to talk about politics, voting, governance, and so forth, you would have heard a blast from me.
Really?
Not at you, but at the government of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Incompetence is the name, not the competent authority, but the incompetent authority. I blasted Mr. Simonet, my MP. I know he has only a week to go, but I told him that patriotic Bahamians, out of concern for their health, the health of the nation, should vote against the F&M for calling this election at this time. Notwithstanding other political parties, including the PLP, says ring the bell, ring the bell. They should have spent the next 5 months getting people to vaccinate and then call the election in May, like former Prime Ministers Christie and Ingram stated. I appreciated your opening remarks. I appreciated your first caller this afternoon remarks. His analysis were right on. I would add to it that each polling station should have some sort of communications transmitter or their cell phone to call the parliamentary register to verify that persons who turned up, including a lifelong friend of mine and his wife, elderly citizens, walking with a walking stick, one of them, to vote, and saying they were not on the list.
Wow.
They had their paper where they registered for the early voting. They had their voters' cards from the last election that showed they voted in the polling division in Marathon. And the officials from parliamentary register says they were not on the list. The PLP was able to find their names, and the F&M were able to find their names on their list. So are they giving out different lists?
Must be, because they were disenfranchising PLPs and F&Ms yesterday.
Yes.
So I don't know. It's I can't say it's a party thing, but I'm just saying.
My friends were in civilian clothes. They were not wearing any party paraphernalia.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't. So that's why the F&M said, oh, yeah, they're there. And the PLP said, yes, they're there. But the police inspector threatened them with arrest when he raised his voice.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Very much so.
On one of the social chats I'm on, again, prominent wife of a retired pastor said she was not allowed to vote and wonders if she should try and vote with the rest of the population next Thursday.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Now, I have two recommendations, and then I'll listen. One, they should, each person in charge of a polling station or stations, because like your earlier caller said, they bundle them up, should be able to call the parliamentary register to find out if the persons are registered. They can let them even register with a protest vote, but do not disenfranchise persons, citizens.
Yeah, they gotta fix it. They gotta fix it.
We are 48 years old,
Yeah.
Mr. McCartney. You talk about 62. It goes back beyond 62. But why are we still in colonial times?
Right. Well, I referenced 62 because that's the first election we had after universal suffrage.
Change, yes.
No, universal suffrage in 61.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Right. First time women were allowed to vote.
Mm-hmm.
Plus the new constitution at the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you know, that is one of my main recommendations, that no one should be disenfranchised. It's too precious. We are democracy and we're proud of it. We talk about we are the second oldest democracy in the Western Hemisphere.
Yep, I agree.
And secondly, we got to emphasize the safety man. I voted at Doris Johnson, my wife and I, and the Guardian was there, the Tribune. I haven't seen your newspaper yet for the day, but the Tribune has the pictures of Doris Johnson. ZNS, I spoke to a reporter. She said it's their second trip. I said, I hope you all have the courage to show this on national TV, being a state-owned television station.
Yeah, me too.
You know?
Okay.
And I saw Brent Simonet, and I let him have it. I saw Dr. Sands, and I said, Dr. Sands, I've listened to you for the last 4 years. I like what you say, but boy, you were the wrong group.
Okay.
I saw Mr. Johnson. I saw Mr. Larada. I saw Mr. Sanders. I spoke to them all. You know, and please keep preaching that we need to improve our efficiency in everything we do, and most especially in holding elections.
Absolutely.
Don't care who they vote for. We have to praise our democracy, free vote, freedom of speech, freedom of expression. And the police need to be disciplined and friendly, citizen-friendly. Why threaten a senior citizen with arrest because he got angry?
Yeah, it makes no sense. All right, I got to go. Thanks, Mr. Carter. Appreciate you. All right, let's do some text messages. Then we'll go to another phone call. Give me a moment. I know you want to call, but I also have lots and lots of texts. It says, Juan, a group of police officers was turned away yesterday because their names were not submitted. But a police officer should already... Did you have to register if you're a police officer? That doesn't make sense. That's who the advance poll was originally for. The poll workers, the police, uniformed services. It says, I feel like one of the biggest problems yesterday was that most people think they should have to show up as soon as or before the polls open. I took someone after 3 p.m. and he was in and out in 5 minutes. Yeah, I don't know when I'm going to go vote in the day. Maybe the afternoon, but what if everyone else says, well, we're going to the afternoon now? Because I won't be here next week. So, Juan, between now and the end of this year, the U.S. is going to force this country to get vaccinated or not deal with us. Well, they got to force their own country before that. So you see how else can switch up so fast and say they can vote now? He can preach about anything, just a yes man, and shamelessly so. I agree with Wall's position. I think that was the position that should have been taken from the very beginning. All right, we got to go to a break, and we'll be back.
Summer is heating up, and Burger King Nassau is bringing the flavor. Introducing our all-new take on a classic chicken sandwich, the Barbecue Swiss Crispy King. Our new sandwich is full of smoky and tangy flavor and features our crispy chicken patty with tangy chipotle sauce, onion rings, bacon, Swiss cheese, lettuce, and tomato, plus a smoky barbecue sauce on a soft potato bun. The new Barbecue Swiss Crispy King chicken sandwich with fries and a Pepsi is a summer treat you will love to eat, but only available for a limited time and only at Burger King Nassau, where taste is king.
Here's a question. What kind of doctor fights with healthcare workers during a pandemic and fails to provide enough testing or to make it free? What kind of doctor invests millions on sidewalks instead of hospitals, then allows patients to be treated in tents during hurricane season? What kind of doctor calls a snap election during our country's worst COVID surge? The answer is pretty clear. Doctor who can't fix a crisis and shouldn't be given 5 more years.
This has been a paid political announcement by the PLP.
Bahamas Check Services Limited has been printing checks, business forms, and deposit books in the Bahamas for over 30 years. We are highly specialized in creating custom forms to suit any and all your business needs. If you need continuous forms, continuous invoices, invoice books, or purchase orders, we can provide them for you. Call 677-8720 or email checks@coralwave.com.
You invest in your children, your home, and your community. But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAL, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Good afternoon, Bahamas. Welcome back to the Revolution here on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. We're talking elections, particularly yesterday's advance poll. It did not go well. Was it a total disaster? No. But the elections need to be conducted more efficiently than they were yesterday. I don't know why we can't get advance polls right. It would seem like it's a really good opportunity to show that you got yourself ready for the game. You know what I mean? It's 18,000 voters, relatively simple. Yes, you got to organize it better. You can't do that same thing next week, Thursday. You're going to get a lot of people in problems. You're going to get yourself in problems. Says Juan, how is it that the opposition owes ZNS money since 2017 for their rallies, etc., and don't want to pay them? They can find money for other stations to host live shows, rally, and the list goes on. As a taxpayer, I want that bill paid off because they ain't going to write that one off. Please investigate. The PLP's bill at ZNS? Sure, I can get to that. Maybe they paid it off. PLP's got lots of rich people in it. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Revolution.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, right, number. You know, the number one problem yesterday, what they should have done is not put two constituencies in one compound.
Yeah,
I think
correct.
that's where they went wrong.
Well, you could do that, you know. You could do that.
Oh, I want.
But you could do it smarter than that.
Pardon me?
I say you could do it, but you got to do it smarter than that. You see?
Boy, due to the space limit, the parking, the amount of people, I think what they should have done is the same way how they could vote Thursday coming. They should have done it just like that. Let every constituency be in one compound.
Well, yeah, you could.
That would have been much better. See, we are in the condition we'll avoid the crowd. And now to run much smoother like that. Instead of having 2 or 3 constituencies in one schoolyard. And then you're talking about thousands of people, you know.
I agree, yes.
That's all I want to say.
It was hairy, you know. Thanks. Good day, Juan. Can you confirm a news report last night that the F&M chairman, Carl Coleman, and a group of investors were given the contracts to run all the forts and historical sites? If so, isn't that the height of corruption? Can you find out for us? It is true, and I don't think it's corrupt at all. All right. So I think that you are living in a fantasy world if you believe that politically connected people aren't going to get together to try and find opportunities how to make money, particularly if there's a need. So I don't got a problem that Cullimer is part of the group or whomever, or Nigel Lewis or any of those guys. I think that I don't got a problem with it. I don't know. I don't know that we need that, but I don't got a major issue with it. And also they were transparent with it as far as who's involved. So I don't have a problem if you approach it that way. This says, Juan, Minutes had snap election mindset without snap election procedure and proactiveness. I see people blaming Bray for asking for the bell to be rung. Come on, look at the way Minutes brushed aside media, debaters, other politicians in the general public all term. You got to be seriously kidding yourself if you think anyone swayed Minutes into calling election. No, I don't think Minutes called an election because of Brave Davis, but Brave Davis bears some responsibility in that he's the one who kept saying, ring the bell, ring the bell. That wasn't a responsible thing to say. I can hear the response already, Juan. Same rebuttal we got all term. We did our best. No, I mean, I think that I haven't interviewed Marvin Dames about this yet, but I think he's grounded in reality enough to know that was not a good advance poll. I would hope. One, I like the clip from our news where the police made a new rule of letting only one person from each party into the voting room at a time. Well, yeah, I know why y'all gotta have more than one person. Hey, Juan, honestly, that issue yesterday was embarrassing. I'm glad they're bringing in the OAS electoral observers to monitor. They need these white boys to monitor these Negroes because that scene at Sadie Curtis looked like a scene from West Africa. Disgusting. Why are we? Have you been to Africa? Have you seen countries like Nigeria? They put us to shame in many respects. I'm here to tell you. Why do we think the lowest standard of life and conduct should be Africa? Why do we do that? Good afternoon. Welcome to the revolution.
Hi, good afternoon, Juan. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm good. How's it going?
I'm doing fine, thank you. I don't know if it was yourself who made the statement or if it was a caller, but I heard you repeat something that forced me to call in just now, where you stated that the opposition leader bears some responsibility for the Prime Minister calling elections. Am I correct?
He bears some responsibility in that it was not a responsible thing to say. I know he didn't have anything to do with calling the election, but it wasn't a responsible thing to say. And you can't come now and go, well, why would you call an election during a pandemic when you asked for him to call an election during the height of the pandemic?
One, to be quite frank, quite fair, and transparent. We have the COVID-19 task force of the Progressive Liberal Party, led by Dr. Michael Dowell, and Dr. Melissa, who were calling for the Prime Minister, the COVID-19 task force, the Minister of National Security, the Parliamentary Commissioner to put in place the proper health protocols to conduct and to guide the elections process. That never took place, Juan, until a few days ago. Okay? And so, yes, it is fair to say that not only Mr. Davis, the entire country who are suffering, the 40 or 50 or 60% of Bahamians who are unemployed, the Bahamians who lost their homes who didn't get rental assistance, the Bahamians who were displaced from Dorian, Bahamian families who are going through all kinds of hardships and dying because they can't access health care at the hospitals, and on and on and on and on, Juan, with the many failures of this government. We're all calling and demanding for this incompetent authority of a Prime Minister and his cabinet to call elections, including myself. But demanding that you call elections, Juan, is a completely separate issue, Juan, from demanding that they are responsible in executing that call for elections. Now, the Prime Minister, to be quite frank and quite fair, was the one touting He's the only one who knows when elections are going to be called, and no one is going to dictate to him. And he was telling the media that the leader of the opposition needs to keep quiet. Do you recall that one, in all honesty?
I do, yeah, I do.
Okay, and so if he is going to take that position, one, knowing that he is a medical doctor, as many of his supporters like to say, knowing that he is failing in our medical health care plan has collapsed in this country. 195 persons in hospital, I think about 19 persons in critical care, one. They are still turning away persons. He should have known better than to call elections without putting in place the proper medical protocols to guide and conduct and ensure that Bahamians' health are protected and Bahamians' lives are protected, which he did not do, one. And a plan in place to ensure that he sat down with the National Security Minister and the Parliamentary Commissioner and the Health Minister to ensure that the advanced polls could be carried out efficiently and effectively, while you see all of this problems having rain down on us today. And finally, one, I'm not seeking to place any blame on the Parliamentary Commissioner because, one, to be quite frank, he's been very vocal in the media. He's been very accountable when the media calls upon him. And if you haven't noticed, only as of recent, you don't hear anything from the Parliamentary Commissioner. The only person you're hearing from is the Minister of National Security, his superior. Thank you for the opportunity, Juan. God bless.
Sure. First of all, that's nonsense. The Parliamentary Commissioner does bear responsibility. The reason you don't hear from the Parliamentary Commissioner is because he does not like to take our calls. He doesn't like to speak. When you get him on the phone, he will be on the phone. He will try to get you off the phone in 10 seconds flat. He has every opportunity to speak to the media, yet he does not. All right? Marvin Dames, at least, will speak as he should. Further to that, and Marvin Dames bears some responsibility, certainly, but you can't skip over the Parliamentary Commissioner. That's nonsense, right? Further to that, you don't have to defend every criticism of the Progressive Liberal Party. It was irresponsible for Brave Davis to say, ring the bell, call an election, not because of what's going to go on at the polls, but because of all the events surrounding an election campaign. Now, in my wildest imaginings, I wouldn't have expected that I saw yesterday. But as the PAHO people said, was it PAHO or World Health Organization? Oh, World Health Organization, PAHO. As the World Health Organization people said, it is not the voting process that poses the most risk, but the campaign events. And so Brave Davis can't squiggle out of that one. I'm sorry. Everybody gotta go get wrong where wrong should be. We got a break. We got a news break. All right, news break, and we'll be back on the other side.
Wait, you know what going down tomorrow?
Nobody, what happening?
Joe bringing these knives to school. He could do Junior in.
For what?
Wait, he fooled with Joe girl.
Mother sick. And you know Junior don't back down for nothing. So that means you got a big fight tomorrow.
So whose side you on?
Side? I trying to stay in school, not Simpson Pen. You gotta tell somebody about this fight.
Tell somebody? I ain't no snitch. I mean cool, you know.
Wait, if you so cool, then you need to stay in school and stay out of the fight.
Yeah, but if I don't hang on Joe's side, him and he...
Tell somebody. We gotta prevent the fight.
What I say? I don't want nobody call me snitch.
We could just call Crime Stoppers. You could report what you know, and nobody gotta know it's you.
So how did I wait?
All you gotta do is call them, or you text them through the Crack Crime Bahamas app, and nobody can know it's you.
Then the police come looking for me for more info, and when they finish with them, Joe them coming looking for me?
When you call Crime Stoppers, the calls go directly to Miami, and they don't ask nothing about you. Then you can get the pen from them, and they can claim a reward later using that same pen.
Plus, everything's scrambled, so nobody can read what you're saying.
Calls 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to The Revolution here on Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM. My name is Juan McCartney. So good to have you with us. Before we go any further, I want to send a happy belated birthday shout-out to my cousin Kirk McCartney up there in Tarpon Bay. I guess it wouldn't be up there. Tarpon Bay would be like parallel to Nassau, maybe. It's in like going north-south of Luther. But happy birthday, Kirk. I hope you had a good one. And I wish you have many, many more. It says F&M 25 seats, maybe more. F&M always. We'll know in a week, right? So we'll see. We'll see if you are. It says, I feel this is intentionally done to frustrate the voters. I see election court coming up after everything is over. But listen, okay, so sure, the F&M is the government, and the government's in charge of overseeing elections. I get that. But why would the F&M try to disenfranchise their own supporters? You gotta look at it with clear eyes, right? So not only people who supported the PLP or the DNA or the Coalition of Independents were disenfranchised yesterday. People across the political spectrum were, which indicates to me that it's not some intentional thing. It is just a lack of proper organization and execution. All right? Now, the government needs to make sure that the election is organized and executed properly. But I'm not sitting here thinking they're going, let's disenfranchise the voters because we think they're not going to vote F&M when they're leaving F&Ms out too. It says this government has too many vacant buildings around town to be using tents for COVID patients. Corner Motel, the Old Bahamas Academy, which I believe the government does own. Why couldn't we have outfitted these buildings to address COVID concerns? The F&M needs to be fired, and the voting issue is just another reason, again, why this group seems to not be able to get anything right. It's just misstep after misstep. Man, the PLP advance poll was a mess too. They can't conduct it no better if it's on the PLP or the F&M to conduct the advance poll. That was a disaster as well, which leads me to it is less the minister but more the parliamentary commissioner. I don't know how y'all are sitting down going, it's not the parliamentary commissioner, like he has no authority or no power. He runs the election. He must be accountable. Says, when I totally disagree with your assertion about F&M Chairman Carl Culmer, he should then resign his chairmanship if so it does not appear to be inside trading. Well, we could agree to disagree. I don't have a big problem with it. It says there's a lack of critical thinking skills. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Revolution.
No, what am I doing?
I'm great. How's it going?
Good choice, you. Let me make my little input today. See, first of all, I listen to Mr. Carter talk and saying all kind of foolishness. See, I thought in the Bahamas, everybody got to put them vote for who they want to vote for.
Yeah.
See, Juan, I keep telling you all over and over and over and over. The most school and fair this country. Nothing can change this country until 2027. I keep telling you all to think God and think people know. See, they say all of the lie, everybody be but 80, 79, 80. So we need to get them out of the way and put the real baby people in this country. And when I say real baby, I talk about the kids who were born on July 10, 1973. Our children and grandchildren. See, these stuff is like, them, they scary people, man. That's why when they fight people, they need to fight from the top. When I passed around yesterday, the Donald Davis, Columbus Primary Center, nobody in places. Government got a million places that people can register and vote, man. They can register at the education building. All them come in Berlin. I told the distance, air conditioning in them Berlin. Master standardized. One. See, but when we get people who are in authority and not doing their job, that's why the country will be in anarchy. And Lord, I pray and hope that if you don't end up in a civil war in this country, and thanks, take my call, man.
Okay, thanks, my brother. There's not going to be any civil war. Someone says, now one, no advance poll was ever as bad as yesterday's. Boy, y'all memory short. Y'all remember 2017? I do. I was there, right? It was one location, the Kendall G.L. Isaacs Gymnasium. there were far fewer people who were eligible to vote in the advance poll. Some people waited to cast their ballots. They didn't have the ballots at the one location. They couldn't get organized in 2017. People fell out at the advance poll. One location, right? So to me, this doesn't wipe away the memory of that. All right? Says McCartney, I'm hearing you saying Mr. Davis should bear some blame. Yesterday, sir, I disagree with you. If Dr. Minnis had vision, it wouldn't matter who say call election. He would continue toward his goal. Yesterday's problem was caused due to process management problems. Let me say this. Let me restate it. Perhaps I was unclear or I said it the wrong way. Maybe. Let me restate it. All right? Brad Davis is not responsible for the advance poll yesterday. I'm pretty sure I did not blame him for what happened at the advance poll yesterday. All right? To the extent that he's responsible is only to the extent that the Progressive Liberal Party, as well as the Free National Movement and everybody else, needs to make sure that their people are conducting themselves properly at the polls. Okay? However, Brave Davis is also not responsible for the Prime Minister calling an election. Okay? If I implied that, I do apologize on what I wanted to say. But Brave Davis does not get, and Keith Bell does not get to stand up here and say he shouldn't have called an election during this time when that is exactly what you wanted him to do. It was an irresponsible thing of Mr. Davis to ask for the Prime Minister to ring the bell, knowing what all that entailed, and it was irresponsible of the Prime Minister to make this decision at this time. All right? But we are where we are. They need to get it. We're having an election. They need to get it right. We can go to the phone line. That's fine. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Revolution. Hello. Good afternoon.
Juan.
Yes.
Maybe Davis was like me. He's tired of people playing games with me. How he said he didn't go in the elections, right? The BC properly stop our trucks. Teachers being ordered. Look at the country in election minutes. So maybe Davis got tired of minutes playing coy. He even fooled me. He fooled the American government. A week after they gave us all these times to come to the vaccine, minutes called the election. They would have never sent a vaccine during an election. So the whole blame goes on, like Christie and Papa say, minutes caused this. Minutes put this in this terrible predicament. Now, has anybody seen him? Because he suffers from conflict. He got to take stress. Did anybody see him yesterday?
Yes, of course.
Did he even vote?
Yeah, he voted. Yeah. I thought he voted, didn't he?
Did anybody see him?
Let me not say that conclusively.
Did anybody see him?
I don't know.
Because he is our he's commander-in-chief. You see Biden on the trail making sure people vaccine. He is now minutes is hiding from us because he got to take stress and conflict and be in trouble until next week.
Okay, my brother. Thanks so much. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Revolution here on Guardian Radio FM. Sorry, I'm reading a text. I'll get into this maybe a little later. Still have to digest at the moment. All right. It says, Minnis and Marvin and election officials did a great job yesterday. Stop hating. Okay. Sure, we just made it up. I'm just making it up. I'm making it up. People are calling and telling their experiences, and they're just making it up. Everything actually went really well. In your reality, everything went really well. That doesn't do us any good, right? To sit here and shield when things go wrong because it's our political party. Do we really expect things to get better if we do that? Or is it not better to analyze the situation and constructively criticize it and say what mistakes happened and seek that they not be repeated the next time? I think that's a better way to approach everybody and act as if you speak about something that actually happened that went wrong yesterday you're hating. Let's go to a break. We'll be back.
Throughout our lifetime, we must all make decisions. No matter how we choose, the right one just needs to be made. Like having J.S. Johnson Insurance Agents and Brokers as your insurance partner. We've been serving the Bahamas for over 100 years. Whether you need home, motor, marine, or commercial insurance, make the right decision. Call 397-2100 or visit jsjohnson.com.
J.S. Johnson, peace of mind.
Here's a question. What kind of doctor fights with healthcare workers during a pandemic and fails to provide enough testing or to make it free? What kind of doctor invests millions on sidewalks instead of hospitals, then allows patients to be treated in tents during hurricane season? What kind of doctor calls a snap election during our country's worst COVID surge? The answer is pretty clear. The kind of doctor who can't fix a crisis and shouldn't be given 5 more years.
This has been a paid political announcement by the PLP.
If you think you can't afford to dress to impress or replace those utensils or maybe even upgrade your household appliances, then you don't know Y-Care's Fashion Center. With 3 locations to serve you, Y-Care's Fashion Center features the things you need or want, all at a price that you can afford. Open Monday through Saturday, 8:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. Y-Care's Fashion Center also has the island's largest jean collection. Put the fun back in shopping and visit your favorite Y-Care's location today, where you can afford.
Is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Revolution here on Guardian Radio. I'm Juan McCartney. This says, Juan, Mr. Biden had a speech yesterday. He told every major company and hospital in the U.S. to have their employees vaccinated or they won't be able to do business with the government. By the end of October, it will eventually spill over globally. Well, we'll see. But like I say, he's got to get his own house in order. This says the lines will be long this election because the private schools will not have people voting there, only the government schools. That's not true. The private schools are being used. I know that because my daughter cannot go to school on Thursday because it's a polling station, and she cannot go to school on Friday because they then need to deep clean the school. So that's not the case. The lines will be long this election. No, I read that. They said the PM might tell the people if he loses the election it was an opinion poll. Like Christier. Remember that Gavin referendum where we wasted everybody's time and money? It says, hi, Juan. So my dad was planning to register for early voting, but when he asked if he registered for advanced polling, but then decided to go on the actual day, instead of that would be fine, they told him no. If he registered for early polls, he wouldn't be listed for the regular voting day, so he just decided to instead just leave it and vote on the 16th. So for those who registered early but decided yesterday to wait due to the chaos, will they then be turned away on Election Day? They certainly should not be. They certainly should not be. If you have not voted, you are still eligible to vote on the 16th. All right? If you're a registered voter. We do a phone call? Sure. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Revolution. Hello, good afternoon.
Golly days, what's wrong with you, Juan?
Hey, what's happening?
Juan, thank God you just analyzed his monologue with his come over the radio.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you never used to, all of us would have, this whole Bahamas would have been crazy.
Okay. Glad I could help.
But you know what? Say it again?
Said I'm glad I could help.
Yes, man. Thank God you can.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what the government needs to do? They need to get some situation. Because the situation, what I've heard came over the radio, what happened on yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing. What happens in those entities, government entities, apathy, nobody are concerned,
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Okay, my brother. It says, Juan, who Water and Sewage give the contract to for water in Central Eleuthera? Now, they have a problem in Eleuthera right now where Aqua Design says they're going to stop producing water for Central Eleuthera at 2:30 today. And that's a problem. because what that means is unless water and sewage come to some sort of agreement with them in terms of paying them what they had owed them and the contract moving forward, or unless water and sewage is prepared to buy that plant, that's going to be a problem. Because water and sewage does not own that plant. They own the land the plant sits on. But Aqua Design owns that plant, and they are going to commence dismantling it once they stop production, barring some intervention by the Water and Sewage Corporation. It's already been litigated by the courts. I don't think they'll be able to get another injunction. That's going to potentially be a problem. Okay? Someone should look into that. Morning, Juan. I'm so disgusted of hearing how this whole voting process went down. I don't even want to vote anymore. Don't want to fall out in the sun or catch COVID. I'm also disgusted of BTC services. My internet phone was down from Monday, and all they tell me is the tech has the info and it takes 48 hours. My child hasn't done virtual schooling. I see. Here's what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to shoot your number to somebody I know at BTC. I try not to do this a lot because you'd be surprised how many people ask me to get how many things done. But I'm going to shoot that number to someone I know at BTC. Let's see if we can get your child straight for virtual school. But I feel you, a lot of people don't want to go out to vote because they don't want to have to wait super long. But I've not... I've been maybe fortunate or timed it right or been astute enough to go at a time when, lucky enough to go at a time when I've never waited a long, long time to vote. So, not in a general election. I carve out like an hour. You know what I mean? I give you that hour and a half. I don't want to be out there for an hour and a half, but I know how it is. Juan, did anybody see our beleaguered prime minister yesterday? I think he voted even for himself. Juan, the day is here. Do you think he went into exile? Juan, do you think Papa voted for minister yesterday? I couldn't imagine in my wildest imaginings that Papa would vote for the... You know what? I will pay money. I will pay cash money. Prime Minister, former Prime Minister Ingram, are you listening? I will pay pretty good money to know how you voted yesterday. Says we need to get our civil service in order. They got paid all through this pandemic. Nobody fired. Everyone knew the election was coming, so why weren't they getting it correct since last election? Well, I agree. We need to get, I don't know about the entire civil service, but we certainly need to make sure there's order with regard to the Parliamentary Registration Department. Why are we focusing how to make the process smoother? The process is flawed and asinine. It's 2020. We need to do things online. Streamlining a system where people's health can be jeopardized through in-person voting is bass-ackward. I feel you, but they're not going to figure that out in 1 week, online voting. So we got to figure out how we're going to make this here, what we do, with the handwritten voter registration card on construction paper. We got to figure out how to make that work. It sounded like everyone knew an early election was coming up. Even Zhivago said there were signs. People were just telling ministers to just let the date be known. That's it. Yeah, certainly. I wish he would have beforehand didn't have this cat and mouse thing going. But if you are politically aware, you know, I thought it would have been in May. Should have been last May. But he backed off. I thought it was being maybe April, actually. No, May. May I lie? May, early May. This says, boy, we hear what we want to hear. Not only was the opposition calling to ring the bell, but mass of the electorate. And not only that, some talk show hosts, what do we want? We need to stop, If he didn't call it, they would have said, see, he wants to maintain control. I think it's a game to some people. This is not a game, people. We say safety, but big grown people see the crowds, know that the pandemic is raging and government doesn't have it under control. So do your part. Social distance, protect yourself. A lot of political games going on at the peril of us, the citizens. You can be an F&M supporter, and also you should, right, as an intelligent, sentient, adult human being, be able to reconcile within yourself that Terminus in the F&M. But this is not a good time to call an election. And if you are going to call the election, you should have all the necessary procedures in place. You should be ready to go if you're going. I think you should be able to reconcile those things in your head, right? And just say what it is. We shouldn't have done it at this time, but we're doing it at this time. Let's do it in the best way we possibly can. And he still has your support. That's perfectly legitimate. But to wrap yourself up in circles trying to explain away the fact that he called it by saying some talk show host said he should call the election really doesn't do anyone any good. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Revolution.
Good afternoon, Mr. McCartney.
How's it going?
Great. In looking at what occurred at the polling divisions I ran, and I saw two of them myself, tell you, I think that this is all by design. I think that Dr. Minnis is trying to create enthalpy out of entropy, and he's adding chaos out of a normal stable situation. And I think that this is designed to confuse, to basically frustrate, or to even scare people into not voting. Okay. Some of the voters had a responsibility. I mean, the information has been out there for a long time about social distancing and all of that, and a lot of people, you can't be that gung-ho for elections when you're putting your life at risk. We don't have a hospital right now that can deal with an influx or the influx, I think, that is inevitable after this voting cycle. And that to me, that scares me, because we don't have enough doctors, we don't have enough rooms, we don't have enough ventilators, and I just think it was a very, very bad call on Dr. Minnis's part, which is indicative of the way he has run this country for the last 4.5 years. Anyway, I think that he is, Dr. Minnis is not. Dr. Minnis is not. There are many people. Even Sun Tzu said there are many people that are not cut out to be leaders. And we have to be more selective and more deliberate in how we choose these people to run this country, because look at where it's getting us. It seems like we are declining in leadership. We are, we're not allowing people that have the best interest of this country at heart and the ability to run this country. Leadership is a very important ingredient, and if you don't have it, you have to search out writings on leadership to make yourself a more effective people. Not just to get in there and enrich yourself. So, again, I think that they're trying to create, they're putting disorder into more disorder, more energy into disorder as a design to try to not to steal, but to create enough confusion so that this election turns in their favor, hopefully. Okay. That's my view.
That's fine, and that's a view. I got to tell you that I'd have to hear a Hubert Minnis say out of his mouth that's what he's trying to do. I couldn't imagine any scenario in which Minnis wants to disenfranchise his own supporters. That's the first thing. The second thing is, and I get, he called the election, yeah? Sure. You can hammer him for that. I'll say it slowly. The Parliamentary Registration Department runs the elections. The Parliamentary Registration Department runs the elections. The election results are not certified unless the parliamentary commissioner certifies them, not the Prime Minister, not the Minister of National Security. The parliamentary commissioner is vested with that responsibility. He is in charge of the Parliamentary Registration Department. The Parliamentary Registration Department runs the elections, not Hubert Minnis, not Marvin Daines. Marvin Daines has that under his portfolio, and he should do everything in his power to make sure that the Parliamentary Registration Department is well-resourced, has a good plan, and is able to execute that plan. But the Parliamentary Registration Department runs the elections. Says, shouldn't Anton be out campaigning for the PLP rather than screaming on this radio show? Well, what do you think it is he's doing when he calls? It says, to the racist or slave-minded texter, maybe you stop watching Sesame Street and start traveling, or at least watch world news to see how persons conduct themselves, say, in Baltic countries or other areas of the world before coming down on black people in Africa. Informed people will thank you for it. Yeah, I mean, and I don't know if it was, like, intentional, because I find that's a fallback of a lot of people. Oh, we are like some African country. Well, I'm sorry. Almost all of them are wealthier than us. Right? There may be not as good a distribution of wealth, but let's not do that. Hey, Juan, I too was calling for a minister to ring the bell. I just thought he would have given the date for May and would have set it in stone since he said he would implement a set election day. This F&M government, all of them, including your friend, the arrogant Jeff Lloyd, got to go. Leave Jeff alone, eh? Do me a favor. Hey, Juan, I could not have a problem with no-bid contracts being given out to cronies, so should we just accept whatever he throws at us, whatever happened to fairness and equal opportunity for all, not just the politically connected? Something is wrong with that, bro, and to hear someone like you in your position with a stage as big as yours is surprising with that sort of thinking. Well, let me help you what undergirds my thinking, right? So you say no-bid contract. If I'm a businessman and I put together an idea and I take it to the government, do I then expect the government to take my idea and open up everyone in the public to have a competing idea or a competing plan to implement my idea? So my thinking is, if this was their idea and they went to the government and everything's on board and they've been very public with it, then I don't have a plan. I don't have a problem with that. And so you may think it's surprising that I feel that way, but in my mind, I don't see it as something shady. I mean, maybe, again, I guess we could agree to disagree. We got to take a break? All right, let's take a break. And we'll be right back.
What's your name?
Pam.
Favorite food?
Steak.
Beer or wine?
Wine.
Is your money safe?
It's under my bed, so I guess so.
Are you serious?
Yeah, why?
Unless your money is in a bank or credit union that's a member of the Deposit Insurance Corporation, there's no guarantee it's safe.
Yeah, but what if something happens to the bank?
Your Bahamian dollar deposits are insured up to $50,000, so you'd still be ahead. Plus, your mattress might catch fire. Then what?
Man, those banks and credit unions are looking good right about now.
Visit the DIC's website at www.dic.bs. Protection for your money guaranteed with DIC.
Hey, Nassau, Rolling Red is back. Rolling Red Drive-In Rally is this Saturday, September 11th at the QE Sports Center, 6 to 8 p.m. Remember, bring your flags, bring your rags, stay in your car and on top of your car or truck. Live entertainment featuring Tyson Knight, Bahamian Trey, and DJ Tang. All safety protocols will be observed. So let's roll red. If you can't make it, then watch us live on any FNM social media site, Our News, Eyewitness TV, and Guardian Radio, or the rebroadcast over the ZNS TV and radio network 8 to 10 p.m.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Good afternoon, Bahamas. Welcome back to the Revolution here on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. My name is Juan McCartney, so good to have you with us. It says, I disagree with you, Juan. I do not give the government a bly because 2017 was so bad, because 2017 was so bad, because COVID killing people, this result was much, much worse. They had years to look at what went wrong and make it right. Apparently, the one thing this term that has happened before, everything else no one could have known. I'm not giving the government a bly at all. At all. I mean, if you're listening, right? And here's the thing. Here's why Maybe it's this. Maybe it's that I have intimate knowledge of how this works. Okay? I've been at the Parliamentary Registration Department for every single general election since I started working in news. Okay? I understand who conducts the election. It ain't Marvin Dames pulling strings. It ain't the Prime Minister, right? The Parliamentary Registration Department runs the election. Marvin Dames and Minnis have their roles, and there's ability to be had with them. But I'm here to tell you, it's the Parliamentary Registration Department. And that's why y'all can't see that, maybe, because you don't have intimate knowledge. You don't be at the Parliamentary Registration Department when the elections go down. You're understanding how this works. Maybe that's what it is. So I'm not giving the government a bly, but I understand what goes on behind the scenes and the mechanisms that help us to have free and fair elections. Now, Minnis needs to ensure that he's on top of things, that there's a proper plan in place, that things are going smoothly. So does Marvin Dames, all right? But in terms of the execution of the election, that's the Parliamentary Registration Department. And no one can get me to think any differently because I know it to be the case. Good afternoon. Welcome to the revolution. Hello, good afternoon. All right. And I say that because you wouldn't know, right? Like if you're looking at the state of something and you go, well, that's the minister, but you don't understand, and I don't understand how the thing works, right? I wouldn't knock me for that. I'm not knocking you if you don't understand how it works, but I'm sure how it works. Good afternoon. Welcome to the revolution.
Yes, Juan McCartney. I've been listening to you from the get-go. But I want you to answer this question, if you could. Who took Hubert Alexander Ingram's name off the register?
Yeah, how does that happen?
Yeah. And also, why that name?
They must have different registers because they told him come back because his name is there.
Okay, you see?
It doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
All right. So I don't know, but thanks for sharing that.
Not a problem. All right, let's do another phone call. Good afternoon. Welcome to the revolution. Hello. Good afternoon.
Hey, Juan McCartney, how you doing?
I'm good, man. How's it going?
All right, Kirk here. All is well.
Yeah, man. All is good.
All right. Only caught bits and pieces of the show today because I'm in and out of the office.
I got you.
But I agree with you that primarily the responsibility is on the parliamentary secretary, commissioner.
Yeah.
And I think something a lot more could have been done. But there's a saying that I always say, when you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Yep.
We know that normally advanced polls would have at about, 3 to 5,000 people take into consideration the poll workers, the uniform branches, and all of those people who are going to be working. You see what I'm saying? That's a breeze, that's why all it could have had in one area. But of course, even with that was chaos, as you mentioned, in 2017.
Correct.
This advanced poll has in excess of 35,000 people because of the addition of the elderly people and all the rest of the stuff who was added.
But only 18,000.
I started to be correct on the amount. I wasn't sure. I thought I heard somebody said 30-something thousand.
That's the eligibility, yeah.
That's eligibility. Okay, be that as it may. I think that a lot could have been done because you should have planned for that. Knowing that you're getting an excess of something that you never had before, it should have been planned for. The advanced poll should tell you that, okay, we're going to see where we are in preparation for the general election poll day.
Yeah.
But it also tells you in terms of what you need to do to prepare for something that is coming. And I don't think it was done properly. Just my 2 cents. I just think that it should have planned better. All these things should have been taken into consideration because when you talk about adding up to 18,000 people, you're talking about, okay, we're in a pandemic and we're practicing social distancing and so forth. All of these things, that should have ring a bell in your head. And I think that what should have also been done is the extent of which the elections and everything would have been held, all of the various polling stations. I think it should have been done to that vein and not have 3 and 4 constituencies within the same compound, because all that contributed to the problems that we have.
Yeah, I agree very much, Kurt. Thanks.
All right.
Alrighty.
Thanks a lot, brother.
All right. Says, good day, Juan. Do you know the exact number of registered voters? On the day that the Prime Minister called the election, which would have meant that you would only count the registered voters up to August 18th, there were just over 194,000 registered voters. So you could ballpark it at 195, right? It's just 95,000 people. We got one more call, and then we got to just do text message. We just don't have time. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Revolution.
Good afternoon, Mr. McCartney. How you doing?
Hey, my brother. How goes it?
Yeah, I always agree with you most all the time. Listen, I'm not a political harbinger, right? Mm-hmm. But, the thing is, the incompetent authority, I'm going to give them some credit because I did hear the Minister of Health came on and said he was really following the guidelines from the CDC, as they did in America. They allowed people who were quarantined or who had COVID to vote. And so they would assume that just treat it as if everybody has COVID, right?
Correct, yes.
And so the box didn't, so that means the enforcement of the protocols. And so, since he referred to the CDC, it seems to me it is a selective science. Then he would refer to an article that you read that I praised you for reading about outdoor transmission dynamics, in which the CDC admitted to giving misleading data on outdoor transmission dynamics. Mm-hmm. So, war. And we're afraid to breathe now. And so as a result of all of the continuous scare conferences that some of the callers and the scientific community was doing. Now, I don't believe the health professionals tell them that quarantine people shouldn't be allowed to vote, because the health professionals should know better than that with their knowledge of science. Because if you carry this science to court, and this is adjudicated, outdoor transmission dynamics, they've been lying about it for so long. You had read it on the air. And I prefer if you do it before the elections, to just ease and calm my people down. People are wearing masks, people are wearing masks and they're gathering up, right? The mask still impedes transmission. The studies are showing that. But everybody's even afraid to breathe now. I don't agree with people harboring up, because I'm afraid. I don't even want to go to the polls myself. But what I'm saying is I will go. But I wouldn't be impeded by lack of scientific knowledge that they're not referring to. Have a good day, brother.
All right, my brother. It says, all right, one last call. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Revolution.
Hello, good day, Mr. McCartney.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, man. I had a good experience. Me and my wife had a good experience at CB Battle.
Some people had good experiences.
You know, Bamboo Town.
Many people had good experiences.
South Beach at CB Battle.
Yeah.
And what you got to look at, one, I left at my house by almost 11:30, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we got there. CB Battle is right down from I live in Bamboo Town, yeah. We got on. Me and my wife got on the line at least about 11:35, and they had chairs for us. You move up the chairs. I think you move up, and by 1 o'clock I was back at my house.
Yeah, that sounds very well
By
run.
1 o'clock I was back at my house.
Well organized.
So what I'm saying, a lot of people, they say a lot of people. Some of them they were saying on the news, they went and they didn't even take their medication, and who are they sure didn't eat. So you cause problem for yourself. What you going on? They say up by the school up on C.I. Gibson there on Marathon. People going on the line at 6 a.m. in the morning. But you leave at your bed that early in the morning to go there for. They cause problem that morning. One, I don't remember voting in at CV Battle, but that's only because there's 24 constituencies in Nassau, so they had they break it down in 12, I guess. Bamboo Town and South Beach voted at CV Battle. But I always in the general election I always vote at Princeville. It's Princeville, and then for Bamboo Town they have Princeville and Carlton Francis on Blue Road South.
Right.
So they I assume, because somebody trying to mix up, people talking about the private schools are not going to allow, and I hear you told them on the show that they Queen's College allowing their school. So I guess Princeville them got a lot of their school too. So what I'm saying, each consistency I guess gonna have like two schools or more. So you should have about 48 schools, 24 schools, so 48 or 24. So I don't see what the people making all this noise about. Or only thing like what Mr. Jones was saying, they should have more signage so to save time. when you get there, you'll save time and you'll find the line that you're supposed to be on quicker. You understand?
I understand. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I'm going to respectfully disagree. Because you had a good experience does not negate the fact that many people did not have a good experience. And traditionally, people do go out early to the polls to try to get a jump on things. It's just, I can't take away the responsibility of the Parliamentary Registration Department and Parliamentary Commissioner to conduct the elections properly. They're responsible. And yesterday was not a good experience for many, and numerous people were disenfranchised, and that just should not happen. It says, Juan, for years now I've been saying to you, the Bahamas is a place where mediocrity thrives and our polls succeed. It's not FNM or PLP, it's the workers. In 2017, I voted in the advance poll. I arrived at 12:45 and voted shortly before 6 p.m. Juan, we keep honoring these people, saying what a great job they've done in their careers, but look at what they leave behind. If I were the new PM, the first thing I would do is fix this, add a fixed election date, have early voting for seniors, disabled persons, poll workers, candidates, and armed forces. Once over 60, automatically added to the early register. Open all of the voting centers throughout the archipelago. This is a lack of logistical and management skills throughout that government department. It has nothing to do with any other thing. It's just lack of talent. But have you heard Mr. Davis say anything about a fixed election date? So that should tell you his position on the matter. Thoughtful. This person can think that through. All right, let me just go through these text messages as much as I can. It says, the guy in the Parliamentary Registration Department said for weeks that they were ready for elections whenever they were called. So how is it Minnis's fault for the chaos yesterday? I did not blame Minnis for the chaos yesterday. I blame the Parliamentary Registration Department. I'm not trying to shield Minnis. Y'all should know me better than that by now. I'm not trying to shield dames, okay? I'm just telling you who's responsible. Good afternoon. What happened to Levin this morning? I don't know what happened to Levin. Am I his keeper? Good afternoon, Juan. As usual, I'm staying focused, and God willing, next Thursday, I'm going to help elect the next governor of the Bahamas. I don't focus on that which is already out. At the end of the day, there are Bahamians from all political parties that believe they are the best team to govern the Bahamas. Hence, no one political organization possesses all knowledge. And so, Mrs. Komalafe is my choice. Absolutely, go vote for Komalafe. What you want to do? It says they will not blame the commissioner because it's not a good talking point. Says the PLP is not in power until September 16th. The FN is to blame. Talk about the unsealed ballot attempt. Yeah, that didn't make any sense to me. What they were talking about the unsealed ballot. I didn't blame the PLP for the election. When I voted in the advance poll at Sadie Curtis, I have a suggestion. There was only one entrance. Why not have separate entrances for Pinewood, Seabreeze, and Nassau Village, which with proper signage and personnel directing voters where to go? Yeah, good idea. Says Corner Motel is privately owned, and to the past callers, stop making excuses for the opposition leader. He, the speaker, and others played a hand in the snap election, calling for the bell to be run during the pandemic, as well as the PM. All are at fault. Well, again, I won't blame Davis for the calling of the election. Communication skills are weak in this country. Tasks are assigned by leaders, and they expect X, Y, Z, but weak links is within those who either are aren't trained properly, or they don't understand the assignment. Surely everyone working the poll would have used their heads to strategize how to manage seniors, disabled, pregnant, etc. Yep, I'm with you. Says the issues of that 2017 advance poll were already handled by the people. The government was voted out. Now, if in 2021 the government doing the same thing again, then, well, the Bahamian people will keep doing what they do. Says, good day, Juan. Third world country, third world mentally, but we will grow in time. Says, good afternoon, Mr. McCartney. Even though Mr. Davis said to call the election, the Prime Minister did not have to do so, so all the blame is on him. Yeah, it's the Prime Minister's prerogative to call the election. I will agree. If I gave the impression that Brave Davis was at fault for the election being called, I bear responsibility for my intention. However, you can say call the election, and when you call the election, go, it's a terrible time to call the election. Okay. Bahamians are so used to blaming the ministers that they don't know that most issues start and stop at these permanent secretary and parliamentary commissioners. Says Juan, every election this happens, no matter who's in power, the same foolishness happens. The culprits in all of this are the government workers. Says Juan, Papa voted for Lincoln Bay. I will pay money. Money. These are a lot of text messages. Sorry I couldn't get it. I will pay money to know how Hubert Ingram voted yesterday. And Dolores, but more so Hubert. All right. Shout out to Mrs. Ingram, too. Wonderful lady. We got to get out of here. Take care out there and have a great day. Have a great day at Bahamas and have a great weekend as well.